Happy New Year, my friends. Misty here with Queen Bee's Vintage. Welcome to or welcome back to my channel. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. I hope you all had a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year with your loved ones. I'm a little delayed on bringing you this video, but I wanted to get it to you anyway. I went with Mom on Tuesday to Michael's and picked up some really fun New Year's picks and some ribbons, and I wanted to create a wreath so that I would have something fun and festive hanging in the house as I transition from Christmas into kind of more of a winter feel. And then you all know I like to decorate for Valentine's Day. So I've created this wreath. This is what we are going to be doing in the video today. I'm doing a full tutorial on how I put this together, and I am going to give you a better look of it at the end of the video. So I hope you guys will join me for this. I hope you enjoy it. You can take the techniques I show you in this video and apply it to any type of themed wreath. It doesn't have to be New Year's. If you're planning on making a Valentine's Day wreath, this might work out perfect for you. So stay tuned, and with that being said, let's get into the video. Let's go over what you're going to need to create this wreath. We're going to use one of these wire work wreaths that already has the pipe cleaner stems on it. This is from Hobby Lobby a few years ago. It was $6.99 and I got it for 90% off. And these come in different colors, and they usually have them for all seasons. You're going to want some pipe cleaners. The color doesn't really matter too much. I like to go with neutral. I have some gold mesh that I had on hand. You're going to want a pair of scissors. I'm going to be using my Easy Bow Maker. Now that my hands are so bad I can't make bows easily without it. I can't make them really easily with it either. You're going to want some of this deco mesh. And I think I'm going to go with this more neutral color instead of the gold, but I pulled the gold out just in case. And you're going to want some of this deco mesh that is 10 inches wide. I'm sorry, the longer rolls are 14 inches wide. And this was $99.99, and I got it at Hobby Lobby last year for 80 or 90% off. I have these really cute picks. These are from Michael's this year. I just got them a day or two ago, and they were 60% off after Christmas. And I just love these colors, and I know I can use all of this in the future at Christmas. I also picked up this fun sparkly flower. And then these are the pieces that are going to make this our fun New Year's wreath. So they're these little picks. This one's a little champagne bottle that says party time, and one that says champagne. These were $4.99, and as I said, I got this stuff 60% off. I love this one. It's a little clear acrylic bottle, and it has little crystals inside that move around. It was also $4.99. And then there is this other, I got two of those, and then there's this other one that says Prosecco, and I love the gold sparkle inside, and again, those little sparkles move around. And a little glittered champagne bucket with a bottle of champagne in it that says cheers. And then I have some ribbon. I have an assortment. Most of this I just picked up at Michael's for 60% off. I'll show you those first. So these two almost look the same, but one is more of a shimmery ribbon with kind of some gold flecks in it, and the top one is actually pink velvet. And then I've got this glittered ribbon here. These were all $9.99 and 60% off. And then this beautiful blush satin. I don't see satin, just satin ribbon that's wired very often, so I was thrilled to find that. And this is real similar to this more narrow one I showed at the beginning. It's kind of a pink with a gold fleck in it. This is just some gold wired ribbon I've had for years. I got it at a closeout at a floral supply. And then this is a Joann's ribbon that I got last year. And this 4-inch ribbon came from a designer no, it didn't. It came from Michael's a year or two ago. And then this beautiful lace and pink lace one, that was from Michael's. I just picked it up a couple days ago, but I think I might save it for Valentine's Day. So I think we have covered everything. Before you start your wreath, you're going to want to make sure that all of the pipe cleaners are standing at attention straight up. I'm going to clip this tag off of it. And then once I adjust these pipe cleaners, I'm going to take my 14-inch deco mesh, and I just want to show you how these are going to look together. It looks really pretty, and with this gold tooling, it just adds the tooling will add a little softness to it. And these were some other picks I picked up at Michael's. I've got this long kind of grassy pick, the glittered stars, and these cute glittered curly cues that we'll also be using. So to start, I'm just going to drop my roll of 14-inch deco mesh down to the ground. It just makes it easier to work with. I'm going to roll that raw edge under because you don't want that to unravel. So to make it tidy, I just fold this over, and I'm going to gather it across the top and make a small poof. And then I'm going to go ahead and take it in. I'm going to start on the inner circle of the work wreath, and I'm just going to secure that nice and tight. You want to make sure that when you put these in, there's a little movement, but they're not flopping back and forth. You want it to be nice and secure. These ties are 6 inches apart, so I'm basically going to be making 6-inch poofs, probably about 8 inches in deco mesh, but once I have it secured, the poof itself is about 6 inches. I just kind of eye this up. I've seen a lot of people that like to measure, and I just don't do it that way. And it always seems to work out okay for me. So I'm just going to continue around this inner circle, creating these poofs and then securing them nice and tightly with the pipe cleaners. And I will go all the way around the inner circle, and I'll come back and show you how I finish that off and then continue down onto the bottom circle of this work wreath. Now that I've made it around, I am going to come back to the pipe cleaner that we actually started with. I am going to create my last poof, and then what I'm going to do is open up the pipe cleaner and put my last poof down into the pipe cleaner and then secure it tightly. I don't like to lay the layers, each layer over the pipe cleaner and then twist it so that you have each layer is twisted separately from the layer below it. I feel that it makes it even bulkier, and it doesn't give you much pipe cleaner to work with when you're adding your ribbon and accessories at the end. So I always like to open those up and add my next layer into it and then tightly secure it again. So now that I've got that secured, I'm just going to pull out another 8 inches approximately, and I'm going to just come down onto this bottom ring, and I'm going to secure that poof. I kind of like to fluff my poofs as I go. It just seems to make it a little bit easier than trying to do it all at the end when it's super full. And I didn't mention earlier, I really make sure I fold these raw, kind of rough edges of the pipe cleaner under. They are, if you've never worked with deco mesh, they're kind of rough and they like to snag on things. So I always like to make sure that those are kind of rolled underneath as I create the poofs. So I am just going to continue around this bottom ring, and I will come back and show you how this looks once I've got that done. Sorry, I just realized I called this pipe cleaner instead of deco mesh. It is deco mesh. So now that I am all the way around the bottom ring, I need to cut this away from the roll and show you how I finish it off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create my last poof, and I am going to probably add a couple inches extra, so it'll probably work out to be almost 10 inches. And what I do is I just secure it into the pipe cleaner, and then I'm going to cut it away from the roll, leaving kind of that, I don't know, this might actually be closer to 12 inches, including the poof and then this excess that I'm cutting off. I like to leave a little bit extra because we're going to need to roll this raw edge under like I did in the beginning. So in order to do that, I'm actually taking the poof out. I'm going to go down and fold the raw edge under now, and then gather it. And then once I have it gathered, I will bring it back up and then secure the poof into the pipe cleaner. I hope that makes sense. Now we are going to cut our 10-inch deco mesh. I'm just going to use my Bow Easy. It is 8 inches on each side of these dowels that are in the middle. So I'm just doing the 8 inches and then 2 inches on the other side of these dowels. And I've actually lined it up with the striping on the tablecloth so that I can cut a nice straight line. The tool I usually use to cut my deco mesh with needs a new blade, so I'm having to use scissors today. And I am cutting 18 pieces of that deco mesh because we have 18 pipe cleaner ties on our work wreath. And now I am going to do the same thing with this tooling, and I'm cutting this in 10-inch strips as well. And I don't think, there's definitely not enough for me to do 18 of these. But what I like to do is sometimes when I want to add a little bit of softness with something like this, I can alternate it, and I like to put it around the bottom ring on the edge. So you'll see what that looks like as we move forward. Now I am going to start to make my bow. I'm going to start with my widest ribbon first, which is the 4-inch ribbon. And there are some really great tutorials out there on how to use the Bow Easy. Like I said, I have a real problem with my hands, and since this right hand got smashed in a car door, it just hasn't been right. So doing real detailed things or having to pinch things together is really hard for me right now. So I'm really struggling with this. So definitely watch a Bow Easy tutorial if you haven't used one of these and you want to pick one up and give it a try. But I'm going to do my best here to just kind of show you how I'm layering these ribbons. And what I like to do is kind of alternate the loops and the tails. So on one side, you're going to want your loop going up and a tail down, and then on the opposite side, a loop will go down and the tail will go up, kind of as I have it shown here. And you can kind of fluff this and play with this once you get the bow done and tied off with a pipe cleaner, but I kind of just like to do it as I go. And when you are using, like, this satin ribbon is the same on both sides, so I don't have to make any twists in the ribbon or anything so that the right side will show. So what I'm doing is my first 2 loops are 8 inches, and what I do when I start my second ribbon is I go in about a 1/2 inch to 1 inch and make the next layer a little bit shorter, and I will just continue doing that until I have each layer placed. So about 1 inch to 1 inch, or about a ½ inch to an inch shorter for each loop. So I am going to just continue on and get this bow created. Now that I have my bow created, I'm going to take a white pipe cleaner over the top of the bow, and I'm going to slide it off the Easy Bow Maker and then just secure it tightly with this pipe cleaner. And this pipe cleaner will be used to attach the bow onto the wreath. And now I'm just going to fluff the bow really good. It will need to get fluffed again after it gets put onto the wreath, but I kind of like to give it a fluff and straighten out all of my loops and tails to see how the bow turned out overall. Now that I have the bow fluffed, I'm going to trim my tails by dovetailing them, and I'm going to use the same technique I showed you earlier, just by folding the tail in half and cutting from the fold line to the wired edge. And this is how the bow turned out. It is a nice big full bow. I'm actually going to make 2 of these for this wreath. I'll do the other off camera. I'm now going to create some ruffles with the 10-inch deco mesh. And to do this, I am just taking it, and where the edges want to roll up, I fold that in so that the raw edge is folded under. And I just start scrunching it up with my fingers, as you can see here, and I catch that other rolled edge under so that that raw edge is folded in as well. And then I'm just going to take it and attach it into my wreath with the existing pipe cleaner. Remember, I untwist it before I add each element, that way it doesn't get too bulky. Oh my gosh, you guys, I am so sorry for the grunting and squealing and growling in the background. The puppies are playing and they are just too cute. A puppy mom's life is not very peaceful, especially these days, but I did get all of my ruffles attached to the wreath, and this is how it looks so far. I really love the color combination of the deco mesh, and now I'm going to go in with that gold tooling and do the same exact technique as far as ruffling the tooling, and then I'm going to go in and attach these to the ruffles that I just attached. I'm going on the outer ring, and I am going to be doing these on every other pipe cleaner, because as I said earlier in the video, I don't have enough of this to do the entire wreath, but I just want to add a touch of softness to the outer edge of the wreath, and I'll accomplish this by placing one of these on every other pipe cleaner as I go around. And I'm just going to show you how this looks with the tooling applied to the wreath. As you can see, it has really softened this outer edge, and I just love the look that it gives it. So now we are going to move forward with cutting our ribbon tails that we will be using on the wreath. I am going to cut each of my ribbons at 13 inches. And for this first one, because it is a glittered ribbon and it's a little bit stiffer, I didn't bring a ribbon board in to use, and I'm sorry, this is a little bit slightly out of the camera. I will get it lined out for you here in just a minute. But what I'm going to do is cut one tail the length I want it, and then I'm going to take this ribbon and just continue folding it over at the 13-inch mark, and I will do this 18 times since we have 18 pipe cleaners. And then once I get that done, I will cut these and I will dovetail the ends and then move on to the next set of ribbon tails that I want to create. had to recruit my husband to help me cut this because of the issues I'm having with my hand. But once we got it cut, I'm going to fold each tail in half and dovetail the ends, and then I will cut the other two styles of ribbon that I am going to be using with these ribbon tails. So I will get all of those cut and come back and show you what we're going to do next. The next ribbon I am going to use is this pretty pink with the gold flecks in it, and I am just going to cut 18 of these at 13 inches and move on to the next ribbon. So I am just going to stack these three ribbons, one on top of the other. I'm going to put the glittered one on the bottom, go over it with the pink and gold, and then I cut the smaller pink with the gold flecks as well, and I'm just going to take those and stack them on top of each other and fold them in half and give them a good pinch at the halfway mark, and then open them back up, and then I'm going to gather them and pinch them in the center, and then I am just going to go in and unwind one of my pipe cleaners, and I will stack these ribbons in on top of the deco mesh ruffles and the tooling ruffles, whatever I've already placed into the wreath. These will go on top, and then I will just give my pipe cleaners a good snug twist, and I will just continue going around the wreath doing this same exact technique until all of my pipe cleaners have ribbon tails, and that will be 18 of them. Now that I have all of the ribbon tails placed, I'm going to go in and separate those out and give them a fluff. And what I like to do when I do this is I like to take each layer of the ribbon. So I'm first going to grab a glittered tail and the pink and gold that I laid on top of that, and I will pull them out so that they crisscross one another, and then the smaller width ribbon will stay in the middle between the four tails. So I'll have three tails going towards in one direction and three going in the other, making kind of a nice crisscross pattern. You can see what that looks like here. So I'm going to continue all the way around the wreath doing this same exact technique, and then it will be time to start applying some picks and those pretty big bows, and we will finish this up. Here is a look at the wreath now that I have all of the ribbon tails fluffed and separated. It's really coming together. I'm loving these colors. So now what I'm going to do is I've taken some of the picks I showed you earlier, and I kind of laid them out the way that I wanted them, and I used one of these small zip ties to secure them together. And as you can see, I just kind of crisscrossed the metal stems so that the bottles would lay the way I wanted them, and then just secured them snugly with the pipe cleaner, the zip tie. And then once I have this laid out the way I want it, I kind of play with this a little bit. I will secure the cluster of champagne bottle picks with one of the pipe cleaners that I've tied my ribbons and other pieces into. So I'm just going to kind of lay these picks out and decide how I want them to look, and then I will secure them with the pipe cleaner and attach my bow, and then I'm going to move over to the other side of the wreath a little bit closer to the top to do the rest of the picks. I have made and sold hundreds of wreaths over the last 4 years, and if I were making these for this wreath for a client, which I'm not, I'm making this for myself, I would secure these picks by dipping them into the hot glue pot and actually gluing them into the wreath so they were more permanent and secure. But because I'm doing this for myself, and maybe next year I might want to use these picks in a different way. Maybe I'll put them into a tree or something like that. So I want all of this to be temporary yet secure in the event that I want to use some of these elements in a different project in the future. So with that said, if you're planning on making wreaths to sell, I would definitely go with gluing as well as securing with pipe cleaner when adding picks and signs or other heavier elements to your wreath. Now that I have these picks where I think I want them and secured with the pipe cleaner, I'm going to add some other picks to the wreath before I add my bow. I want to add some of these glittered curly Q picks that I picked up at Michael's on clearance into the outer ring of the wreath, and I'm just doing this by going in and finding the little hole that I can shove the pick down into, and then I will secure it with the existing pipe cleaner. This is another thing that I would recommend, probably cutting the pick down a little bit and then securing it with hot glue. But as I said, I may want to use all this on another project, so we're not going to do that today. So I'm just going to get it put in there nice and snug and give it a good twist with the existing pipe cleaner. And this is how those curly Q picks look as you go around the wreath. And these were placed about maybe every 2 pipe cleaners because I didn't have that many of those. So now I am going to go in, and where I placed the picks earlier, I'm going to place picks facing downwards on the wreath. I kind of want them to cascade down off the lower part of the wreath, and these are going to come out from underneath my bow. So as you can see here, I'm kind of going back and forth, putting my bow on to see how I need to adjust these picks so that they will show coming out from underneath the bow. And I've just folded this one stem over, and then I'm securing it into the pipe cleaner. That'll keep it nice and secure. I'm going to add this glittered grass, and then one of these other picks that have the little kind of cream colored distressed ornaments and the gold glittered balls on it. And once I get that secured, then I will be ready to move on and place some more picks into the wreath and my bows. Now that I have everything in place with my bow and everything is secured, I want to show you how this is looking so far. I think it's going to be so pretty, and I want to hang it on the inside of my front door, and that is black, and I think it's just going to really pop and contrast beautifully with the door. So now we're going to start up in this top corner, and I'm going to just kind of start laying out my picks and get a feel for the look I want. I know I want to use this piece of grass, so again, I'm folding that stem over to create kind of a hook, and I will wrap my pipe cleaners around that once I'm ready to secure it. I know I want to use those really fun glittered star picks that I got at Michael's also. So I'm going to start kind of seeing how I can lay those out, and if I can use both picks, I am going to. I'm going to see if 2 is overkill, but this is going to be a really big ornate wreath, so it's going to be a little over the top. So I'm going to see if I can get these 2 picks to work out. And then I'm going to take the other champagne bottle picks and this cute champagne bucket pick with the champagne inside. And I'm going to go ahead and put those together and secure those with a zip tie, just as I did with the other ones. Once I figure out how I want to lay it out and how I want them placed. Now that I have secured the picks with the zip tie and I have figured out how I want everything placed, I'm going to start securing the picks to the wreath and into the pipe cleaners. And once I get those nice and secure, I'm going to take the other bow that I created and I'm going to get it placed, covering, you know, the ends and the bottoms of these picks. And we'll see how that looks. Once I get this last bow placed, I am going to give it and the rest of my tails and the other bow a good fluff. I'll go over the wreath really good, making sure everything is fluffed and looking the way that I want it to look. And once I get that done, I am going to take it over and hang it on the door and show you guys how it turned out. I am in love with this. I hope you like it too. Well, here it is. This is how the New Year's wreath turned out. I am really happy with it. I love all of these colors, and I think this is just going to be nice to have up until I start doing my Valentine's Day decor. So I'm going to give you guys a closer look. I just wanted to say thank you so much to each and every one of you for all of your love and support that you have sent my way this year. It's been a tough one and I really appreciate it. I am wishing all of you a very healthy and happy and better 2021. So let's take a closer look. Don't mind the gingerbread hook. I haven't swapped it out for my other one yet, but this is how it turned out. Just want to give you guys a close-up and I'll move back out again. Got some picks coming out the sides. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, I would love it if you would give it a thumbs up. If you are new to the channel and you haven't hit that red subscribe button yet, we would love to have you join our YouTube family. Thank you guys for all of your wonderful comments on my Christmas videos. I am trying to get in and respond to some of those. Okay, well, thanks for stopping by today, you guys. And until next time, bye-bye.